we talked to Emily Hewitson the other week, who's one of our contributors who went into the Big Brother house. I think she briefly may have met our next guest, who was thrown out of Big Brother for making... You know what? I was about to say making some off-colour remarks. Actually, just saying some random stuff that was no more than a talking point. But nonetheless, you know that there is a cancel culture in this country, and he was cancelled as a result. It's George Gilbert. George, how are you?
Not too bad, mate. Thank you very much.
It's been a bit of a weird time, though, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster. I said, imagine this is what it feels like. You're 17, your best mate's just passed his driving tests, and he's taking you for a spin in his new car, up the motorway, breaking all the speed limits. You feel uncomfortable, even in danger.
Yeah.
But I quite like it.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. You're not in control.
But you ended up crashing. So how was
it's a write-off.
Have you
really
been injured, or what were you thrown out? Some choice comments or something?
Yeah, well, I've always been one to.
You had a lot of warnings, apparently.
Yeah.
But you can't say anything these days, and you get a warning.
Tell me about it.
So what were the few things? How did it start? What was the first thing?
Whoa. Guess how long it took for me to rack up my first warning?
This first day. Yeah.
First day. Yeah.
Oh, I'd beat that.
Oh, no, it's got to be a record.
I would beat that. Celebrity Big Brother, I'll have that. I'll have that. 15 minutes.
So you're summoned to the diary room, and they go, come here.
Yeah, well,
George.
on night one, do you want to know what the...
Yeah.
Well, it's...
What did you do,
Again,
George?
it was just asking questions.
Well, by the way, why don't we just say to the viewers and listeners, he's going to come up with what he was thrown off Big Brother for. So if you're easily offended...
Yeah. And by the way, if you want to speak to George, you watch the show, give us a ring 0344449.
Because now, if we say that, the regulator will let us say anything. So, no, I'm joking.
Well, I've got nothing to lose anyway. Public enemy number one, didn't I?
What's your
first one? So I said, I don't believe that anybody in history was wholly good or evil.
Okay.
I think...
That's right. Yeah.
I then went on to use the most extreme example for my sins. I said Hitler. He's what most people would call the most evil person
He was
ever.
a vegetarian.
Right,
I've heard people say
yeah,
that.
and
an animal lover.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just like me, I'm vegetarian and an animal lover.
Yeah. But of course, a lot of mass murderers, they love their family, but it was still evil.
I think I do prefer animals to humans. Animals are harmless.
A lot of people.
It was remarkable, apart from lions.
Lions aren't.
It was actually.
National animal.
It's interesting you should say that, because I think there's a lot of people who would say we all have a capacity for good and we all have a capacity for evil, right? And therefore, when you look at Rudolf Hess, who actually lied at the Nuremberg trial, he said that he'd gassed 2 million people at Auschwitz, where he'd only gassed 1 million, right? Which is a remarkable thing. So when he was literally on trial for his crimes, he was unapologetic. In fact, he was disappointed to learn he'd done as badly as he'd done. But, you know...
Why did he lie about that then?
I think he was trying to show off, believe it or not, at his own trial.
So that shows... You mean Eichmann, or...
No,
Rudolf Hess. He
Hess.
hanged himself with his hairdryer cord at Spandau, didn't he?
But the point is this. So I think objectively, the Holocaust is an act of evil. But first of all... but the next point to make was his family lived on the outskirts of the camp and had apparently a very normal family life, and he was a normal dad. And I think what you can always say is that people can be evil in a certain context. So as an example, look, what Hitler did was objectively evil, but the fact that he liked his dog doesn't mean the Holocaust didn't happen.
Well, a lot of them are psychopaths, and they're very charming people. You know, they can seem it to. You know what I mean? But they're still
1 in
evil.
20 people they reckon are psychopaths. So
I'll tell you.
One in
I'll
this
tell you.
building.
I'll tell you what.
It probably is me. Yeah.
I came across in politics a corporate. You know, they've got this new concept of a corporate psychopath, which is they say that actually most psychopaths are not murderers. You know, but they're
like Alan Sugar or Richard Branson.
They get their kicks. They get their kicks from causing trouble around them, and you can always find them because they're the one that's steady as a rock amongst the chaos.
A great leader is probably Donald Trump. Donald Trump is probably one. You know what I mean? It's
so you said.
Well, I said nobody is wholly good or evil.
No, that's true.
But then I went on to say Hitler. I'm sure Hitler wasn't sitting there going, like, watching the Holocaust play out and going, oh, I'm so evil.
Yeah,
I think he thought this is the right thing to do. I'm a good man for doing this.
Yes.
That's what he would have, and he would have been fed a pack of lies to believe that.
Yes.
So I said Hitler was therefore misguided.
And also,
but by saying he's misguided, apparently I'm justifying the Holocaust.
But is he evil as well? I mean, I would say he's evil.
He had good intentions, but I think he he just blamed the wrong people. He thought what he was doing was good.
But murdering people is just evil.
But we've always said the path to hell is paved with good intentions, right? The reality is Hitler believed he was cleaning up Germany. But this is the other problem.
But he wasn't.
But we have.
Did he believe that, or was he just anti-Semitic?
But this is the other problem that we've got. People now respect people's beliefs, don't they? Right? If you believe the solution to Germany's problems is to gas the Jews, I have no respect for your belief. But nowadays we've got to pretend we respect them, don't we?
Well, not really. I mean, you'll get arrested if it's on certain things. Won't you? You know what I mean?
And I mean, I don't know what your boundaries of free speech is. Is it? Do we draw the line at inciting violence? Do we draw the line at what could be offensive?
So the definition
that's the blurred line.
The definition of free speech that we tend to go for is this: we allow all free speech. Obviously, we've got a regulator for taste and decency and whatever, but we don't normally come into conflict with them late at night, as you can imagine. But we say. Incitement is not free speech. So as an example, or indeed is commissioning of a crime. So if the three of us today were talking about doing a bank job together, that wouldn't be free speech. It would be merely planning the commissioning of a crime, which would be illegal as well.
True, but until you rob that bank, you haven't done it. So you're not a criminal.
It's conspiracy.
So where are we drawing the line?
I think you can be done for conspiracy, but it's a reasonable point. But I think what we try and do is not have our delineation where the College of Policing puts it. We have a delineation where it actually becomes incitement or whatever. But the other thing is that we've had Tom Harris on this show from the Free Speech Union on multiple occasions, who says that the law should change on incitement, and it should be much more like America, where you have to specifically name something. So you have to go, instead of saying, I wish we rid the world of Jews, you have to say, go to this synagogue on this occasion.
Like Charles Manson, he never killed anyone himself. He just sent his followers to go and murder, Sharon Tate and a couple of others.
Is he as guilty as them?
Yeah, murder, because he was the one who sent them.
To me, I mean, on paper, surely he is.
But he actually incited them. He said, he gave them the address, and they were his followers. He was like a messiah.
So if after this show, if I go and murder someone, but en route I listen to a Taylor Swift song, and then I say in court, you just...
No, you get done and she gets done.
Should Taylor Swift go and get
jailed? If she ordered you to, you'd both get... Well, if she ordered you to, if she phoned you up and said, George, go to this address and kill these people...
No, but by listening to her song,
that's not incitement.
But if I've listened to her song and that's made me want to do it, surely by your logic...
No, my logic is she would have to say, go to this address and kill these people. But anyway, your first...
By the way, I just to the pedants getting in touch. Apologies if my pronunciation of Rudolf Hess is wrong, but there are two of them with similar names.
No, you're Nazis.
Right? One of them was the commandant of Auschwitz. The other one was, quite rightly, in British custody. I don't know the pronunciation of either of them.
But look, we've had your first one. You said Hitler had certain good attributes about him. Number 2 warning.
Number 2. So this also wasn't televised.
By the way, you related to Ken Livingstone? Because it all gets a bit Nazi-ish, doesn't it?
It reminds me of Elizabeth I.
Well, I get Mick Hucknall a lot.
Yeah, Mick Hucknall,
I've been called worse in my time.
Anyway. I met Mick Hucknall once. I'll tell you this story quickly. I met him after Question Time. And you know BBC Question Time, I was a parliamentary researcher, and one of my MP boss was on. And at the time, used to go, I don't know if you still do, used to go to dinner with the presenter afterwards. And it was at Granada Television, where there's a flat upstairs. And Dimbleby, throughout the entire dinner, smoked Marlboro Reds and blew the smoke in Mick Hucknall's face. I don't know what his problem with him was, and I've told this story before, but it culminated in...
Did he go...
It culminated in Mick Hucknall saying, I'm an art collector, and Dimbleby saying, posters don't count as art.
Anyway, your second public warning.
So on the topic of me being a redhead, I said... As someone with red hair, blue eyes, white skin, I've been told that makes me the rarest breed of human.
Oh, yeah.
0.001% or something.
It's probably right.
It's crazy. Yeah, well, it's only Northern Europe that it's native to.
Yeah. Yes, correct.
So I suppose I'm quite happy with that. I stand out. It's all recessive, not a dominant gene. So I said, as a result, I feel something of an obligation to procreate with a woman who can continue my genes. Not necessarily, I mean, my mum's brunette, so it doesn't have to be, but...
Well, that's going a bit too far.
But I did say, as a result, if I was to have a child with a brown or black woman, for example, I might do, who knows? But if I was, then the child will have brown skin, light brown skin, brown eyes, brown hair, and the ginger genes would die. Now,
I could have ginger hair.
I said, if I do that, I feel like I'm maybe betraying my kind. Because I said betraying, that's the wrong word. I hold my hands up. At the end of the day, I'm not media trained. I'm a 23-year-old lad with opinions.
But gingers should have their own characteristic,
I believe in self-accountability. I'm not trying to shift the blame, but I don't think that's enough.
But in the words of...
that's not offensive, is it?
In the words... Was it Frankie Boyle who said that we gingers are the Aborigines of Britain?
Yeah.
That was worse if you'd said that.
Aborigine just means original person.
So that was the next occasion.
Yeah, so that was another one.
Just because you had red hair, they wore I mean, quite right,
Yeah, well, it's gingerism.
Yeah, gingerism.
But that's still legal. We coined that on this show.
What was the third?
Third one, so this was the first one that was televised. So we were playing a game of Spin the Bottle to spice things up. Because a lot of people sit on the fence in there, don't want to rock the boat.
Yeah.
So we're playing Spin the Bottle.
Can you sit on the fence and not rock the boat?
No, that's why we wanted to get all the namby-pambies to give their opinions, because I'm the only bugger that
Well, that's the thing, the other youth there, they're all a bit insipid and puny and weak and complain. Is that why haven't you been affected? Did you go to private? Have you been educated differently? Is it the schools that have made them all these pillocks that they've produced?
No, it's in my blood. I've always been quite subversive. So,
but is it how many? Is it like 80% of your age group are like those other? But the
well, 80% of people are. I mean, how many people are as noisy and loud as you?
But you've been indoctrinated, haven't you, in school? You know what I mean? Maybe not you.
I mean, I think universities definitely do that. I didn't go to university, proudly. So I wouldn't advise it if there's any young people listening. Don't go to university.
Well, they send 50% now go to university, and that means you're just of average intelligence.
Well, if you want to make money, you'll be in the blue-collar jobs, the plumbers, the electricians. With an AI boom on the horizon, we don't need sociologists.
Getting a degree in underpant pulling up from the University of Grey buildings.
David Beckham
you can get that.
So we need more sociologists about North African lesbian poetry.
The spin the bottle.
Spin the bottle lands on me, and I'm tasked with saying something bad about each and every housemate the day before nominations.
Brilliant.
That bodes well. Basically, face-to-face nominations. So I'd call one lad too loud. I'd say the same about you two. I called one girl. She needs to get involved more. One girl had a really thick Northern Irish accent. I said, I can't really understand you, love. And then I got to this housemate called Sam. He's gay, and he's very, should we say, flamboyant.
Yes.
So I just said, I couldn't think of the word off the top of my head at the time. So I just said, Sam, you're a bit nah. And because I did the old limp wrists, they called it.
But that doesn't mean gay. You could be straight and be like that. Well, there's a lot of hairdressers who are like that and they're not gay.
Well, the offence was offensive language.
David Platt used to run around like that.
Well, they said limp wrists is offensive because Sam was bullied for that at school. How was I to know?
Yeah, how do you know?
That's right.
So it's not rubbish. I was done for offensive language, but they worded it as in I was being a bit homophobic.
Were they setting you up, ITV? Because they interviewed you first, and they know your views, and they know what you're going to do and come across as. We saw it, I mean, on a bigger scale with Gino Di Campo. They go, oh, get naked, Gino. I laugh for 10 years, and then years later they go, he was naked on set.
Yeah, misogynist, is it?
Yeah, so do you think they set you up a bit? They like doing that, don't they? These evil TV
I don't want to.
Evil.
You know,
and do you get paid, even though you got thrown out?
You get paid per day, only.
You don't get a whole show fee.
No, you don't. You don't get paid to go on like the celebs do. You just get a fee every day to cover your bills.
Well, look, Jane has been watching it. Jane in Milton Keynes. She's keen. She wants to speak to you. Go on, Janie. Give it to him. Spin that bottle.
Hiya.
Hello.
Hiya.
Hi. Yeah. You're through to George. Gilbert and George. No,
Can
George
you hear
Gilbert.
Me?
Hi,
Can
Jane.
you hear me?
What's your question?
No, we can't.
Can't hear me?
No.
I can hear you.
I can hear you perfectly.
Say something.
He's irrelevant anyway.
Well, somebody can't hear me.
No, I didn't hear that.
They can't hear me.
He's mucking about.
No, you're through to George. Have you been watching George on Big Brother?
Yeah, can you put yourself?
I'll put you through. Go on.
What's your question?
I'm very anxious.
You should be. There's thousands of people watching and listening to you.
I have that effect on people.
Yeah. All right, stop making me nervous. I just wanted to say, I think Big Brother this year has been a bit of a stirrer. What Big Brother did this year is they put loads of people of different sort of, ideas and idealisms and all that. I'm not going to say the word. And what they did was they put people like George in on purpose, right, who is just somebody that is just like everybody else. You know, he's got an opinion, he's got something to say, and he got kicked out because he had something to say. And that's what's going on in society today, right now.
And it ruins the show as well, doesn't it? Because you lose the good people.
Yeah, well, this is it. Thanks, Jane, for your support. I really appreciate it. You're very right, because if people are scared to touch those contentious subjects and, you know, talk about stuff that will ruffle some feathers, what's the point of it?
It's like a microcosm of society. Everyone's self-censoring themselves.
Well, I'm a big fan of Big Brother because it brands itself as a social experiment with a plethora of different personalities from both sides of the political spectrum, urban, rural, young, old. I love it. That's where I thrive. So I was being myself. I want to, you know, it is an entertainment show. It's always at the back of your head. So you want to make good viewing, and I was doing that. I've had over 1,000 direct messages of people taking time out of their day to acknowledge how amazing I am. And it's a real honour, so thank you, Jane, and you're spot on, because we do need to normalise debate, as if we don't do that, then
you can't just have one side bias, can you?
Last time I checked.
Now,
okay, should we just explain?
Let's explain. He's dressed as Father Christmas because he did play Father Christmas. He was an impersonator, and he's been sacked for being too fat. Are you denying that you were too fat, or just that it's...
I deny it. I either deny it or admit it.
But how can Father Christmas be too fat? It's all part of the thing.
Well, that's what I always thought. And then I suddenly saw a photograph of my backside hanging out of these trousers.
Can you put your outfit on, actually? Can you put the beard and everything on?
I will a bit later on for you.
Thanks, man.
So I'm looking at this. Obviously, Father Christmas can't get round absolutely everywhere in the run-up to Christmas, and therefore the impersonators are needed at various places. You were working in Windsor, presumably quite near where I live. And the gear that you've bought looks the part. Fantastic. You really do look like Father Christmas. And in fact, actually, if I walked past you in the street dressed like that, I would believe you were the real Father Christmas. You know why I'm saying all this, don't you, Mike? And so obviously... So obviously now we want to discuss why you were sacked as a Father Christmas impersonator.
Yes.
Right, okay, this is where it's different, you see, because I wasn't going to wear this gear. This is my gear that I wear, and I've been wearing this for the last few years. I've got several outfits. I've been doing the Father Christmas bit for the last 10, 15 years. Yeah. And it was rather strange. I joined Lapland UK, which are based, as you know...
Is that lap dancing club you used to go to, is it?
Well, you know, we kept that quiet, Ash. That's where you and I used to take me when I was younger.
I remember that. Disgraceful.
Yep. Yeah, and... yeah, so what happened was, you see, I decided I'd join Lapland this year, and they got their own uniform, which is nothing like this at all. It's not traditional at all.
So it's the like bunny tails and the high heels?
No, that's the other place we're talking about.
I'm getting mixed up.
No, this is the Lederhausens that cut.
I'm getting you in more trouble now, aren't I? Yeah, sorry.
Well, my wife doesn't. At least she's asleep at the moment, so it's quite safe.
That's good.
Whichever wife I'm with this year. Anyway, so it's yes, as I was saying, and so they've got their own outfit, you see. So they had all my measurements, and the whole thing starts next week. So I go along to the wardrobes, as they call it, and I do all my fittings. I think this is a bit tight, all this stuff, and that's fair enough. And I said, you've got all my measurements. How come this is so tight? Anyway, so they said, fine, you look wonderful, and we'd love you to do all the bits and pieces you're here for. The next time I got a letter just a few days ago, and bearing in mind I start on Tuesday, I got an email 2 days ago to say, regrettably, the outfit you've got doesn't fit you properly, and we're not prepared to spend money on buying a new outfit for you, which is a bit weird. So therefore we fired you.
Is it a roundabout way of firing you, basically? It's like I call him Big Ken when they got sacked as a bus driver.
But hang on, just to be clear, You have been a Father Christmas impersonator for years. The uniform that you've bought there is clearly quite... I don't know whether they're expensive or well-made, but either way, I would believe you were the real Father Christmas if I saw you. So what they're saying is, the crummy uniform that we've got doesn't fit you because you're too fat to be Father Christmas. Hard to know where that's going. And we won't let you wear your own uniform because we want you to wear the old rubbish we've bought. What on earth are they doing? I mean, is this an attempt to pretend that Father Christmas is a skinny guy?
Yeah. Funny you should say that, because there's a WhatsApp group amongst the Father Christmases for Ascot. Another chap came on the other night before I got chucked off because I made a comment. The other chap said I thought body shaming was illegal, and I said why? He said because they said I'm too thin and I've got to wear a fat suit, and I said that's a bit weird because I've been told I'm too fat and I've got to go.
So you need that Goldilocks weight to get the job there, but it's a way of getting rid of you, isn't it? That's just a roundabout way of getting rid of you.
Exactly. Well, that's what it seemed like. Although they did offer to pay me off. They pay me 5 days' money plus a fitting fee, whereas I would have worked for 70. How many hours I do? About 35 days. 8-hour days, so you work out how many hours that is, and I've lost about 10-15 grand.
But here's the problem, Mike. Here's the problem. You know, it is unfair on kids because there is only one Father Christmas and he can't make it to all the shopping centres and all the grottos and whatever. So we do need all these impersonators. But, you know, I remember when I went to see these Father Christmas impersonators, you know, the really good ones really got you in the mood for Christmas. Obviously, Mum and Dad would pretend it was the real Father Christmas. We know it wasn't, but okay, fine. But little kids would enjoy all that. And to lose an experienced Father Christmas. And you said it was actually in Windsor Great Park that you were going to do it. That's a real shame.
Yes, in fact... Well, especially for Prince Andrew as well, you know, it was all organised for him. So.
You should go down to Pizza Express down there. He's down there. But the thing is, you actually, I bet you did a really good job because you come from a great lineage of actors of Peter Sellers. He was your uncle, wasn't he? And I can see now with you, he was your cousin. But you were in the disguise now, and you remind me your face of when Peter Sellers used to put. You're a bit like a fat Peter Sellers, aren't you? So maybe that's. You should become a Sellers impersonator. Do you know what I mean? But I bet you were really good at the character acting as well, weren't you? At being Father Christmas.
Well, yes, it's funny you say that, yeah. I mean, I do the I-360 in Brighton, which is that tower down on the seafront where the pod that goes up and down. Yeah. And I was doing that for quite a few years, and I'm doing that again now this year. And I'm not just an ordinary Father Christmas. I'm not an ordinary Santa. I entertain the kids, you know. I tell them stories. Yeah. I do magic tricks. I get really involved in, the whole thing.
The other thing I want to ask you is this ludicrous situation about sitting on the knee of Father Christmas. I think
you can't sit on Mike's knee, not in his condition.
I understand. I mean, I just feel like that was part of it, and the whole, you know, you can't get the proper photo sitting on Father Christmas's knee and all this. I just think that talks to a world where we're so suspicious of absolutely everybody, and also I think there's nothing wrong with saying that you enjoy that interaction. You think that interaction's good. It's the way that the adults are meant to treat children.
Well, actually, I do have children of my own.
You've got about 23 children, I remember.
Well, I keep trying about
that you know about.
Well. Yeah, I know about it, that's for sure. No, but seriously, I do that thing. I'm DBS checked, so I'm police checked. I've got no criminal record whatsoever, contrary to what demand. I've never stopped having children of my knee.
Yeah.
Oh, really? You never have?
Just looks at a woman and she gets pregnant.
Most parents want to put their kid on your knee. I'll tell you something. I was Father Christmas in Malta 4 years ago.
That's a great honour, that is.
Well, for the Maltese government, it was fantastic.
The Maltesers.
Well, actually, Father Christmas there is a bit like the Pope, and we saw more adults than we did kids. And I'll tell you a very quick story about how serious they take this.
You didn't bounce them on your knee, though, did you?
It was
the best thing about the Pope, by the way, in my view, is that he's got a fuse on the top of his head. I'd love to light the fuse and see what actually happens.
He wears a yarmulke.
This woman sat on my lap and she said to me, I said, "What would you like for Christmas?" And she said to me, "I want a baby." And I said, "Well, I'm a bit busy at the moment. Come and see me a bit later, you know, sort something out." Anyway, so after about 3 or 4 women doing the same thing, I realised that these women wanted babies. You know, they were infertile.
They wanted your celebrity sperm. That was what it was, for fertilisation, yeah.
Well, it used to be yours.
Did you give them their wish?
No, of course not.
No.
I'm a bona fide, very serious. I'm a very bona fide, very serious Father Christmas. Oh boy.
Naughty Santa.
Exactly. I remember you when you were a little child.
I know you did. Well, actually, you know some of my mum's friends in Brighton. Well, tell us about Brighton, because that's changed a lot. You live. By the way, if you need a Father Christmas in the area, he's available for hire now, and he's a proper one. He doesn't need any padding. He can do it properly. But yeah, what's going on in Brighton with it? Because you were a councillor, weren't you? And now you're with Reform, I think. If a couple of decades ago, you were a councillor. What are you seeing in Brighton? Because that's totally changed, hasn't it? Since I used to go.
Brighton itself is very disappointing. In fact, I'm in a place called Shoreham by Sea.
Yeah.
They had the air crash there, of course.
Yeah. And you used to present the air show, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, literally. And I was there sadly the day of the crash, which was awful. I worked for a TV channel down here as well. Yes, I joined Reform. Yes, so I'm not sure if I meant to admit that at all.
No, it's all right. We're not in any period. So you're going to run for council in what? In Sussex, East Sussex, or is that what you're going to do?
Well, you know, East Sussex and West Sussex, of course, keep cancelling these elections.
That's
so
right.
They're going to do an 8 or 9 year term the way they're going.
It's a disgrace to democracy, though.
It's total. There's no democracy whatsoever. But Ada and Worthing, which are the two areas in West Sussex, hopefully there will elections be taking place in May of next year. Unless, of course, they try and cancel. They're trying to cancel them again now. So we'll just have to see what happens.
Now,
But Brighton itself is becoming a horrible place to live.
Why?
Well, you actually on the nail there about anti-Semitism, of course, is rife. The council itself have taken in an awful lot of asylum seekers, as have Worthing, but Ada.
I'm quite surprised by that, Mike, because what I would have expected was the liberal lefty LGBT type people. I would have expected to want Britain to take in a lot of asylum seekers, but not put their money where their mouth is and have them in their actual area. Did you see Question Time the other week, where they were going on about how it was a disgrace that Robert Jenrick had complained that parts of Birmingham had no white people from a place that was 99% white?
Well, yes. I mean, you can't. Yeah, I don't watch Question Time. Actually,
no one does.
I hate it since it's changed. I think Question Time is about the worst programme on BBC.
You've got No Brainer Rainer moving in down by you, So are you looking forward?
We saw her move.
Well, yeah, because I heard a couple of months before through my mum's friends network. You know that she was looking at a flat there. Yeah. So you excited about that? It wasn't you that scrawled on the wall, was it?
No, not me. No. But I did see her moving. And the marks are still there.
In the old Britain, the Britain before 1997, not only were we pretty homogenous in terms of all being the common stock of this island, there was, however different you were in Scotland or Wales or whatever, you acknowledged the primacy of the Westminster Parliament and the politics that depended on that. Politics of debate, of parties, of a two-party system, of a sense of rights that didn't need to be spelled out because they were simply taken for granted, that went back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And then under Blair, all that's changed. And the thing that's so frightening, what we now know, what was admitted by Andrew Never, who was one of the key figures in the speechwriting of the Blair years, they decided to do something completely extraordinary. They decided to reinvent Britain. They decided to make us a new country. I talked about the reinvention of the British Constitution, the deliberate hiving away of power from anything that was democratic or democratically answerable. They decided to do something else. They decided to change the people. And, you know, there's that extraordinary incident in the German Democratic Republic, East Germany, in 1953, when there had been a revolt against the communist regime, and the communist government of Walter Ulbricht proclaims how disappointed it was in the people, and the kind of Ian Hislop of East Germany, you know, the licensed comic, Bertolt Brecht, you know, the approved fool, comes up with this wonderful idea. Well, isn't it terribly sorry that we've let down our rulers? Isn't the obvious solution that you dissolve the people and elect another one? And you know what? That's what Blair did. He dissolved the British people and he decided to elect another one. And we're now in this world of nobody quite knowing who they are or what they are.
But let me ask you this question.
Bizarre things like debating, is Rishi Sunak English, for God's sake?
I mean, let me ask you this. Here's the bit I don't understand. If I go to South Africa now and live in a white-only community, I'm a colonial settler. If I move from Pakistan to Burnley, I'm striking a success for multiculturalism. I don't understand. One thing we've learnt in human history, David, it's better to discover than be discovered, right? That has been almost universally true. What is happening now, other than the colonisation?
We've simply inverted values. In other words, what we have now, in the name of anti-racism, in the name of hacking down white supremacy, we've simply inverted apartheid. We've simply turned the pyramid upside down. It's exactly like Animal Farm. You know, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. Once it was white good, black bad. Now it's black and brown and yellow and whatever good, white bad. It's as simple as that. It's as crude as that. And the thing that's so terrifying about this country, this is what Robert Jenrick and others, Rupert Lowe and whatever have been talking about, this two-tier is actually embedded in law.
Yes.
That the Human Rights Act, that the Equality Act have been perverted to prefer the minority against.
But I got told when there was a fairly minor dispute in the Middle East, I got told that my Remembrance Sunday needed to be cancelled because there were issues for Muslim migrants that was more important in Gaza than the history of the United Kingdom. And look, the MOD police said the most important thing to do was to take down the flags from the cenotaph because it might offend people. That is the standard now that we live in.
It is deranged. But again, what we have to do, again, I go back to Trump. Trump said this is rubbish. MAGA said it's rubbish. We have to have a clear understanding, and it's not discriminatory, it's not wicked, it's not nasty. Britain is primarily for the British. I mean, what else can it be? What is the point of a nation otherwise? We owe no obligations beyond that.
Let's put this straight. They're not trying to take the medal off of me because of the 2-bob joke I said about Sadiq Khan. I made 5 comments on Twitter, one 2-bob, one about Carol Walderman, who gives a about Carol Walderman. I made
she's got a different face every time you see her.
Not since she left Countdown, no one cares.
Well,
she changed a lot.
Look, she's an has-been. She's trying to create her career again. She's finished job. Her number's up. So the throwaway comments that I make, this is not about trying to remove my OBE about that. This is politically motivated. This is a personal attack. I'm being victimised because I've left the UK. I've told that when Labour get in, they're not qualified, they're not experienced to do the job, and they will make the biggest mess up that has ever gone.
But hang on a second, Charlie. I mean, look, I don't read every detail of your CV, but my understanding is that you said that you have very severe reservations about the economic direction of this country. Now, look, people can criticise you or agree with you or disagree with you, but at the end of the day, you are the most successful plumber in the country. You have the most successful plumbing business, or you had the most successful plumbing business.
I've still got it. I've just opened a new one called Weefix London.
But your criticisms of the economic direction of the United Kingdom come with the force of some degree of knowledge.
Of course.
And when you say I'm going going to Spain because I'm concerned. What you're actually saying is, I need to preserve my wealth for my family because the British government is being so irresponsible.
That's right. Look, I haven't gone to avoid tax. I've gone because I'm no longer prepared to put into the pot and pay for people that don't deserve it, whether it be illegals, migrants, immigrants, ponces, benefit cheats, call them what you want. I'm no longer prepared to pay for them. So I haven't gone to avoid tax. I've gone out there because I ain't putting in the pot. The new company that we now formed, We Fix London, very much a family business, and fortunately doing very well. Doing similar to my previous company that allegedly isn't doing so well. So I'm keeping people in work. I'm back getting youngsters into training. I'm back putting money into the economy. I'm on there as a non-executive chairman, as I'm sure you know means I'm not on any dosh.
So let me ask you this question. First of all, look, I don't know what you're allowed to say as an officer of the Order of the British Empire.
I'll say what I want.
Okay, but
it's called free speech.
But first of all, how did the threats manifest themselves? Is question number one, and question number two. Why are you feeling the need to speak out now?
Why? Well, I've always spoken out.
That's a reasonable point.
But all of a sudden, you've got this busybody who's become Prime Minister, who's become very woke. He was the one that fought very much for free speech, but long as the free speech is what he wants you to say. So he started all this free speech off. I'm just sticking up for free speech. Today I've joined a great organisation, Toby Something, who's running the Free Speech Union.
Toby Young, yeah.
Toby Young.
Lord Young.
Yeah. So I've joined that today.
Was it because when you remember a few months ago there was talk of you joining Reform? Was that when the trouble began?
Of course.
So, because they hate reform, that's the enemy. They bring in their sort of lawfare or different political pressures.
It's all politically activated or motivated. Let's not kid anyone. I mean, a blind man can see that, right? It's politically motivated. I've gone against Labour. I have no personal issues with them. I wish them well.
Well, maybe you should have. I mean, what about the reform thing? Is that now gone away? And whose side are you on, Rupert or Nigel?
I'm still a reform member.
But do you think there should be mass, deportations? Because that's sort of the difference, isn't it?
Do I think that?
Yeah.
Of course.
So you're Rupert then?
Well, I don't care who says it.
It's Rupert saying it and Nigel saying he probably can't do that.
Say what they want. I mean, look, that don't matter. At the moment, I'm 100% behind reform. If and when Nigel Farage becomes Prime Minister, I will be backing them all the way.
But he's not saying there should be mass... He's saying it's unviable, we can't do mass deportations.
Yeah, but that's not our conversation tonight, Ash. You know what I mean?
I just wanted to know.
All right, well...
Are you going to be an MP, though, for it?
I'm going to go for a councillor first, yeah? And when I win that, and then if things are still going well in the right direction, then I'll go for MP.
Cool, man.
But all them little... they're trying. There's a little bit of what do you call it? A little bit of school kid fighting in the playground.
It's gone a bit far, isn't it?
I want to ask you this question, and this is a question that I've asked my dad. And look, I'm just going to say to you, you don't know my dad. My dad started as an apprentice off a council estate, apprentice electrical engineer, and rose to be the boss of a major company. He doesn't have the level of wealth you have because it wasn't his business. Nonetheless, I want to ask you this, because this is the number one political issue for me. Could a young person with your talent and your ambition make it from the bottom to the top today? Because I feel, Charlie, that the ladder of opportunity is being kicked away from people in a way that I don't think was kicked away in your day.
Well, I don't think, look, because the way we talk, because the education we've had, we're already 10-0 down. But, I'm a successful entrepreneur. I run another successful business. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about apprentices. There ain't nobody better that could join the government and get youngsters into work than me.
In the United States, there was a lawsuit that went to the Supreme Court because Tennessee put a ban in place and the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union, were suing for the right to sterilize kids.
Yes.
The same organization sued not to give these drugs to pedophiles, by the way.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Anyway, Chase Strangio, a woman pretending to be a man, the lawyer for the ACLU, she admitted before the Supreme Court justice that actually completed suicides are very rare. And what they've been talking about this whole time is suicidal ideation. But no, that's not what they've been talking about. They are saying kids are going to die if you don't transition them.
That's right.
And it's a ridiculous, absurd lie.
It's evil, isn't it?
Humans have been around for a long time. Kids weren't killing themselves because they were born in the wrong body.
But if I believe... So, this is the other thing that worries me a great deal, Chris, is this. If I believe that I was born in the wrong body, right, by definition I'm wrong, but if I believe I was born in the wrong body, this is what we're finding increasingly. If I have gender reassignment surgery, to the extent that it's possible to do that, I will still believe I'm in the wrong body. So the point is, I always give the example of the people who, there's a weird condition where people believe their arm is alien or their leg shouldn't be there. And nobody turns around and says, if you believe you shouldn't have this hand, let's chop off your hand. What they say is, look, you've got a weird thing with your hormones or with your mental health state, but it is not the solution to the arm problem to chop off your arm.
You're right, but do you want to hear something crazy?
Go on.
So that's a condition called apotemnophilia, where people think like their leg doesn't belong, for example.
Yes.
And a doctor did cut off some legs in
he
America.
talks about that.
And then they put a stop to it. But I was just at a conference last week, sitting beside a doctor who told me she was in the room when a surgeon signed off on cutting off a man's leg just because he wanted it cut off. For no good reason.
Well, we've just got a surgeon in this country who actually did amputate limbs, and he had a sexual fetish and he wanted his legs to be amputated. He'd froze them with dry ice, then got sepsis and had to go to hospital, and now all of his patients who had bits removed are saying, he's in prison now, are saying, well, maybe he removed my bits, you know, and he didn't need to. But the question I'd like, because you've looked into all these long-term studies, what's the percentage of people who have transitioned who then basically when they were kids talked into it have said, this is I've changed my mind. You can't obviously reverse it. They'll try things, but you'll never come back the way you were.
Well, you end up hideously disfigured.
What is the percentage of people that turn around and say, oh, this was a mistake when they're a few years down the line?
The most comprehensive study ever done where nobody was lost to follow-up, as often happens. You don't know what happens to them.
Yeah.
In Sweden, where nobody was lost to follow-up, the suicide rate 10 years after sex reassignment surgery was 19.1 times higher than their peers and 40 times higher than the general public. When I say 19.1 times higher than their peers, I'm talking about people with similar mental health comorbidities. I don't have the exact percentage.
Yeah, but what
it is
about
way
actual
higher.
people who, you know, weren't going to commit suicide, but really, like there was someone here who sued the companies, you know, who they're not going to commit suicide, but they know it was a mistake. They're going to carry on with their lives. You know, is there any figures for that?
No, we don't have excellent statistics on this.
Because they don't want us to have them, do they?
So I'm absolutely dismayed at the number of liberal idiots online on TikTok. I'm sure you've seen them all, of people celebrating the death. But the thing that has really got me today is finding out that the guy who is the president-elect of the Oxford Union, so he was running for election, or in the run-up to election at the time that Charlie Kirk spoke in the summer. He's now the president-elect and will be due to be president in January. That he is happy that Charlie Kirk was shot. He has allegedly, I mean, I would say allegedly because that's what all the papers say for legal reasons, but we've got all the screenshots and everything. Him saying allegedly on WhatsApp, Charlie Kirk got shot, let's effing go. And then on his Instagram, it's not even that he sent a private message to a mate for nobody to see. He sent this WhatsApp to the whole general committee chat of all of the Oxford Union committee members. And then on his Instagram to all of his followers, we've got a screenshot of him posting on his Instagram notes, Charlie Kirk got shot, lol, just laughing about the matter. But this is the guy who's going to be president of not just anywhere, but the place that claims to be the last bastion of free speech.
Got it. But let me understand this, because I mean that was kind of the point I was going to make. So you're an Oxford graduate yourself, which is obviously it means that it's not your student union, it's a slightly different thing. The Oxford Union, it's a debating society. But you're sat there thinking...
There's the guy on screen if you're watching.
He looks lovely. Do you know what he looks like? He looks like that geezer from The In-Betweeners. You know that film, the insufferable
He looks like the guy at Glastonbury who was going death to the IDF.
So he's got dreadlocks for those of you that aren't watching and listening instead. But okay, let me just say this to you. So I got it wrong in the introduction. Apologies for that. I thought he was the former president. He is the upcoming president. So each president does a term as president of the Oxford Union. This means that the bastion of free speech in Britain, the most important debating society in the world, now has a president coming in January who believes that we should shoot people we politically disagree with. What on earth? Where does Oxford University go from this?
Well, the way, in terms of the procedure as to how can we get rid of this guy, who I think is a safety concern, because you have people like Jordan Peterson, huge people, coming in debating in this chamber, right? If I would be very concerned if I was Jordan Peterson, and let's say he gets invited in January to go speak there again when this guy's president. If you are going to a debating chamber where you are hoping that that president has made sure that the security is top notch and there will be no risk to your life when you're in that chamber. Look, I've gone to plenty of debates there, and most of the time you can just walk in. It's not really that tight security. You're putting your life in this guy's hands, right? I would not trust him if I know I've got a right-wing point of view and this guy has in the past celebrated people with right-wing views being killed. But in terms of the procedure, Andre, as to how can we possibly get rid of this guy, he either has to resign, or a lot of people are like, oh, why isn't the Oxford Union sacking him? He can't just be sacked. He's elected. There's a complicated constitution. What has to happen is someone has to submit a complaint to the returning officer, which if he doesn't resign by the end of the week, I will do because I am a member. But I hope it doesn't come to that, because then you have to go through this really long tribunal process. I know because I have been tribbed, as we call it, before over a Facebook post at the Oxford Union. It's not a fun process. It's very long, and I'm sure he doesn't want to go through it either. So what I say to George is, please just walk the plank yourself.
But they don't have freedom of speech for a few years there. I mean, we've seen the atmospheres there where when people have gone, like I think it was Douglas Murray and other people, the son of Hamas guy. They don't really, like at other universities, it's at the pinnacle of wokery, and they're not really welcoming. A lot of people will be deplatformed or stay away anyway. It's got to and there was also that law they were going to bring in that got shelved, didn't it? The freedom of speech that would have ensured that security would have been there, but that got thrown out when Labour got voted in.
But my understanding, Chloe, and you will know better than Asher or I, my understanding is the problems with Oxford University, but the Oxford Union being a wholly separate institution that you can join as a student or former student at Oxford, had previously been relatively immune, or are we wrong on that?
No, that you're right that there is this is a separate entity. So the Oxford Union, it is its own society. It's not technically part of the Oxford University. So Oxford University, someone could send a letter saying we condemn this. You could have the Vice Chancellor or someone send a letter.
They've brought it into disrepute, haven't they? They've brought it into disrepute.
However, now I would say the Oxford Student Union, who does give them some funding, could do something about this, but the Oxford Student Union is the wokest place. So the Oxford Student Union, when Kathleen Stock, you remember Kathleen Stock?
Yes.
Yeah, the gender-critical feminist. There was a huge campaign to get her debate at the Oxford Union shut down, and the Oxford Student Union, which is separate to the Oxford Union, it's like the student body, they were threatening to cut the funding to the Oxford Union if they platformed Kathleen Stock. Now, the president at the time, he was very good, and the committee were very good. They were clear on the Oxford Union's principles. The Oxford Union is normally good, and they say, no, we are the bastion of free speech. We will platform this lady. There was an enormous protest. You could barely hear the woman speak because the protesters outside were blaring Lady Gaga on full blast on their speaker to try and drown her out. And we even had a protester manage to get in and glue themselves to the floor. We had to pause the event for half an hour waiting for the police to unglue this individual. But we did it anyway, and we made sure her voice was heard. And you know what? There were loads of people, Andre, who came to that event initially thinking, I hate this woman, she's an evil transphobe. And they listened to her and realised that she was actually speaking common sense.